welcome to everybody that's tuning in to Mission Matters. My name's Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to come on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Russell Luce on the line, and he is Senior Partner and Founder at Planning Legacies Financial Group. Russell, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Adam. I appreciate inviting me. It's an honor to be here today.
All right, Russell. So we have some big news today. So excited to welcome you into the recent publication of Mission Matters, Volume 5 of our Business Leaders Edition. So first off, congrats on being published.
Thank you. It was kind of wild seeing the book cover and going through the process of writing the chapter and being included with a bunch of other very astute and very interesting leaders. So I thank you for the opportunity.
So Russell, I'll start this episode the way that we start them all with our Mission Matters Minute.
Okay.
So we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. So that's our mission here. Russell, what mission matters to you?
Well, it's kind of really ironic when we start talking about the book, about your name and your company, Mission Matters. Our firm, we look at people and we want to make a difference. So we have the mission, no pun intended, to make an impact in people's lives on a daily basis. So to me, when you approached me about the book and then approached me about the podcast, it made it was just perfect timing and perfect opportunity. So it's just making a difference in people's lives on a daily basis in some form or fashion.
That's awesome. So we'll get into the book and we'll definitely get into your writing because we want to peel that onion because lots of great content there. But just to get us started, maybe tell us a little bit more about your background and really how you got started on this path in finance.
It's a very unique path. I'm sure most people don't take the path that I took. I come from a military and police background, as you can tell by the haircut, still the same way. I came about the financial arena after falling in 1989, 15 feet. The fall wasn't the problem. The stop was the difficulty. Injured myself and went to talk to a pastor about classes for my present wedding back 30 years ago, and he asked me if I ever thought about career insurance investments, and I literally started laughing at the pastor. I said, Pastor Greg, I said, I know how I feel about my insurance guy. I get the garlic fries out the worst in vampires. Here we are 30 years later. So it's a very unique style. Nobody expected me to go to college for this. I was going to college to be a police officer and then went into the military. So finance was not anything that I had planned.
So, I mean, we've worked together. We have had other conversations, and I know mentorship and the idea of paying it forward. I know that's a big part of what you do and just your thought process. So, there's some younger individuals that are watching this, or some people that are maybe just even interested in working in the financial services sector, and they're looking for some direction. What kind of advice would you give to those people that are just getting started if they're looking for a career in financial services?
This is, to me, one of the best careers ever. You can make a difference in people's lives 10, 20, 30 year, 40 year down the line if you do your job and your career right. But to stay in it for 30 years, you have to be blessed for a couple of things. You have to find mentors throughout your career. I've had different mentors in different stages of my career, but I've had some wonderful people mentoring me along the process. Because if you think you know everything in this industry, you'll be humbled really quick. You don't. I can do this really quick. I can do this really well. And I'm very blessed with the fact that I have a lot smarter people around me, like I said in the book. So I surround myself with people that are smarter than I am, so I look good.
So Planning Legacies Financial Group. So tell us a little bit more about the firm and the types of individuals you help.
The firm was basically born of leaving corporate America. I was a general agent or director of sales for a company, and the vice president came in my office and said, "You're doing a great job." And the three famous letters came behind it, "But you're not the guy I hired." So I went independent at that point in time. And I'm like, we want to make a difference in people's lives for those individuals, not for the carriers or for companies that we work with or work for. So we went independent and I developed Planning Legacies Financial Group. And like I said, that was in 2007. And I had at least 40 guys at one time. And now I'm back to kind of blowing it up and starting back small again. I recently brought a new partner on 3 years ago, Tara, Di Maria is going to be her name now. It's a great fit because she's 20 years younger than I am. So we have different thought processes because I'm a guy in my mid to late 50s. She's a woman in her mid 30s. Mm-hmm. So we get a yin and yang when we're talking about clients and different perspectives, which to me I think is great because you're getting both a woman and a man's view, but you're also getting different stages of the careers, views. So I think what we bring to a client and people we want to help is very unique.
What kind of clients do you feel get maybe the most value out of working with you and your team? Like, is there a certain like age group or industry or background? Like, give us a little bit of a feel for who connects best.
We have a clientele that we like looking at, which is basically anybody in special needs market, because I have two sons who are autistic. So that's our give back to our community. That's our mission, to make a difference in that type of arena with people that need that type of help. As far as our normal clients, if you want to call any client normal, we usually look for clients that have at least $300,000 or more of disposable assets that we can work with. But if we get a referral from a client saying, "Hey, my son needs help or my daughter needs help," somebody asks us, we very seldom ever say no. But that's not the clientele that we're looking for. But we'll help pretty much anybody who raises their hand and asks for help.
So let's change it up a bit. So I do want to get into this book. So first off, the title of your chapter. So The Right People. Like, what was the inspiration for writing this?
Like I said, I've been blessed for 30 years being in this business. It's not because I always tease myself I'm the smartest tack in the box. I just have been blessed to surrounding myself with really good quality people. And that's, you asked earlier about what advice I give somebody new to this industry. Find good quality people and surround yourself with them. Surround yourself with people that are at a higher level of where you want to be, where you want to strive to be. Not people that are at your current skill set, but people who are where you want to be ultimately. Find those individuals, seek those individuals out, read about them. This book was really great experience for me because it made me think more about how did I come through this industry. And writing the book was, I don't want to say therapeutic, but it helped me understand a little bit more my path, and why I give back and why I like making a difference, why I like mentoring people. I found somebody on Facebook recently that said, I need a mentor. And I reached out to her. I said, you're more welcome to pick my brain as long as you do it after my second cup of coffee in the morning. We're great. And she ended up calling, and we're still mentoring her. She's down in Texas. So I just been really blessed with, knowing and having, for some reason, people enjoy my company. I don't know why, but they seem to. And I just get really blessed with getting to know people of, like I said, status in companies or status, higher level of type of skill sets that I don't have or that I want to get to. And, have mentored me as well. It's something you can't get enough of.
So you break down your chapter in a couple of different headings, and one of them is look for drive, not talent. Tell me a little bit more about that. The first time I saw that, I saw the head, and I'm like, really? So tell me a little bit more about that.
It goes back saying when I recruit or look at individuals saying, okay, do I want to work with this person? The knowledge part is taught. You can teach knowledge. Okay, they can learn knowledge. They can do YouTube. They can do LinkedIn. There's so many ways for people to get the knowledge. Facebook, even there is so many ways with social media now that people can get knowledge in our industry. What I can't give individuals is the drive or what I call the fire in the belly. If you don't have the drive to be successful, you're not going to make it in this industry. You have to have that drive. You have to have that, goal-orientated type of approach to this business, because you get no a lot. There's a lot of people that they're not saying no to you personally. They're saying no that they don't think they want to say, I don't know what I'm doing and I need help. They don't want to admit. So if you have the drive, the industry is teachable. When I went through the process of becoming in a full management for the first time, my boss at the time was John Rolandelli. He is now Senior Vice President of American National Life Insurance Company. And when we were going through the process, I was 39 years old, which we won't mention, 20 years ago.
A couple years ago.
But I asked him, I said, I'm 39. Why me? Why are you asking me to run the organization? He says, one thing you can teach is sales. Is I can teach you the other stuff. What I can't, you have that drive, you have that need to be successful, you have that goal. I played sports mostly all my life. So I was always competitive. So I still have that in this industry. I'm always trying to be in the top 10 of whatever insurance companies I work with, or be in the top of our industry, which $1 Million Roundtable. I've always strived for that each year, tried to get to that next level. Matthew McConaughey said something really interesting on his speech. It popped up on Facebook the other day about his, I think when he won his Academy Award.
Yeah.
There's three things that I look up to. I look up to God every day. I look up at my family and want to, do what's best and show them how proud I am of them. And then he said, I always strive for my hero. My hero is me 10 years from now. He says, I'll never get to that person, but it's always given me something to strive for. Ever since I saw that, it's exactly kind of how I've approached it. I'm always chasing what I want to be. I want our company to look like. I'm always, chasing that, that carrot. I'm a big carrot and stick guy. So.
No, that's awesome. And it makes so much sense. And I caught that one, by the way. The first time I saw that, I'm like, man, Matthew McConaughey, keep doing what you do, man.
He has a couple of really good speeches out there. I mean, if you really listen to him, and he's very philosophical, but it's not philosophical in a fluff way. It's philosophical in a very direct and business type of way.
So another thing that you write about is to value street smarts over book smarts. And when I heard that one too, and I read that one as well, I'm like, all right, Russell. So I got the first one, I got the second one. I'm feeling very Midwest right now. I'm from Michigan. I'm like, I value street smarts. Come on. So what was the idea of relating this to business?
I'll go back to my days on the police department. You used to have guys come out of the academy that were probably ace. First time you got them on the streets, they go, that's what I mean by book smarts, the street smarts. You can be book intelligent. You can have the knowledge of everything in this industry if you really want to get there. Yeah. But if you don't apply it and don't put it into practice, it's book smarts. It's not street smarts. And I think I rather value the street smarts more. Like I said, the drive, the basically to implement and not to be afraid to go fail, because you learn more from failure than you success. But that part of it, is what I look for. I mean, I'm always striving for that, but street smarts to book smarts goes back to my days on the police department, military. You have to be able to, implement. You have to be able to take something that you learned here and if you don't put it down here, it doesn't make a difference what you learned here. If you can't implement it, go teach other people that. If you don't want to do it, then teach it. But yeah, I have a big problem with people that are book smart and what I call common sense stupid.
Another section in the book. So stop giving orders and start asking questions. So when I went through this part of it, and I still remember I was reading the original manuscript and I'm thinking to myself, and this is one of the things that I 100% struggle with. I'm working on myself as a business owner and as somebody, that manages and leads people, is that to ask more questions and to ask better questions. So when I read this section, I'm like, Russell, you've been sitting in some of my meetings, haven't you? So what inspired that section?
I have a very good friend of mine. His name is Van Miller. Van's been a mentor of mine, a good friend of mine for 30 years. He's what they call top of the round table, usually by March, which he does over $1 million of revenue in our industry. He looked at me. We were in an event, I want to say 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, at French Lick, Indiana, for one of the insurance carriers I use a lot of, which is Gleaner Life Insurance Society. And we were at their conference of excellence. And he looked at me. We were sitting at the table by the pool. He looked at me and says, "You really hate when I kind of tell you something that you need to correct, don't you?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Okay." He says, "So if you're telling people all things and I'm telling you things and you don't like me telling you things of what you're doing wrong," he says, "how do you think your clients feel when you're telling them something without, that they're doing wrong, without really asking questions?"
Yeah.
So my paradigm was the 2x4 upside my forehead. It's like, okay, you got me. So, in our industry, we're so used to, and my background of being a police officer in the military, you're used to giving people orders.
Yeah.
And they're used to having to follow a set of orders. in business, not the case. If you're not asking people their opinion or asking people questions about their scenarios or their input on your business, then you're missing out on a lot, because like I said, you'll get feedback. They're like, okay, this person gets it, or okay, this person doesn't get it. Let me ask an additional question. More questions you ask, you can literally take people the direction that they need to be by the way they want to go. You're not telling them, you're asking them questions. And I think if and that could be in any position, that could be life in general. If you're not asking an opinion around the people around you and you're used to telling everybody everything, you're missing out a lot of input. So it's hard for me because I have that mentality of still being, an authoritative person. So me asking questions, it's a work in progress, but I think I've gotten pretty good at it recently.
Where do you find people go wrong on this one? Because I try and I remember and I do it, and then sometimes I forget. I fall into old habits, old patterns. Where do you think people kind of go wrong on this part of it? Because I feel like that asking questions part is a big piece.
I noticed a difference, like when we call clients from meeting setting. I'll do it. My partner will do it. I'll do it my old way. She'll do it the new way, which is we like to come out and ask your opinion on some things, making sure we're doing things right for our clients like yourselves. Her responses are pretty nice because people are not put on guard at that point in time.
Yeah.
They think when their advisor's calling them that they're trying to sell them something more. And I tell people, I don't sell people anything.
Yeah.
So my job as an advisor and my job as a financial professional is go in there and find, find solutions to problems that you may or may not have. And usually we always find something we can help clients with. There's very seldom that we ever go into a client and we don't find anything that we can do.
Yeah.
Whether that's tweaking a portfolio or revamping a portfolio or putting them into some type of programs and strategies that need to be. But when you tell them they have to do it, it's a lot different when you ask them a lot of really key questions and you take them that direction. All of a sudden, then they're no longer, you become their advocate. You're not becoming their salesperson. And that's what we are. We are their advocates. We're advocating, just like we're advocating with the book. We're helping people, they're entrepreneurs, they're business leaders. They may read something in a book, like you said, Street Smarts, the book smarts. And all, you know what? Now that makes sense. Maybe I need to change this approach. My rule of thumb is if I make a difference in one person's life in a day, whether it's giving them a piece of advice, whether it's telling them something, or whether it's actually physically putting them into a different strategy, then I've done my job for the day, or even on a phone call. If I get somebody laughing, I had a car accident back in December. So I was talking to one of the hospitals on a bill, and I had the lady just laughing her fanny off. She was just laughing hysterically. And she goes, I love you. She goes, I need you every Monday. So, but treat people and you do things the right way and you ask the right questions. It's not confrontational. You become the advocate, and is what we're trying to do both with Mission Matters and your approach to business, to also the book on leadership. Book on leadership, I think we're advocating for other leaders and other people to make a difference in their employees and their clientele, wherever that clientele may be, their lives. So that's what we should be doing on a daily basis.
And I want you to expand on that. So that brings me to the last point of what you wrote, at least in the book. So aim to make a difference. What has that meant into you in your career?
Oh, God. I've been in different aspects of this career where you get that aha moment where, okay, this is why I'm doing this. This is important. And I hope I don't get choked up here.
Yeah.
We recently did a strategy for a client that they were going to leave their IRA to their children. And we said, okay, this is, I think, a better way of doing this is we're going to do this. And they did exactly what we told them to do. And it was tough because the first time we sat down with the husband and wife, first words out of the wife's mouth is, I'm not buying any life insurance. That was the first words out of her mouth, how we started the conversation. Yeah. And then we approached it. Well, if you do this and you do this, this is what's going to happen. And I don't want to go into a lot of great details, but that was March of 2020. I get a phone call December 2020 from their son telling them that they both died. Oh, which was totally amazing that it happened, and both happened due to a health issue. But when we sat down and delivered the check to the son, he goes, you don't realize what you did for my family. by doing this, we're able to, go through the grieving process and say goodbye to our parents in a timely fashion, not in a rush fashion. We made such a difference in their lives. That was, I wish I had happened to me 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Not people pass away, but had that type of aha moment, because that regenerated us as a firm. I mean, our job is to make a difference in people's lives on a daily basis, whether that's a simple phone call, whether it's a program, whether it's getting somebody to the retirement, whatever that may be. If we're making a difference in people's lives, I hope today, whoever's watching this, if they pick up one thing from our conversation today, that's made a difference in somebody's lives. That's what our mission is. And I think that's what you do with Mission Matters is fantastic, because you're trying to make a difference in people's lives on a daily basis in business.
And so, speaking of making a difference, I know that, I got this message from your office, so I don't know if you know that I know, but I understand that you were also awarded an award recently, so the 5-Star Wealth Manager Award. So first off, congratulations on the award.
Thank you very much. It's pretty cool award. So yeah.
So tell us, give us a little bit more of the background of this, though, because I don't want to assume everybody watching knows the award, its importance, and the types of individuals that are recognized. So tell us a little bit more about the award.
5-Star Wealth Manager or 5-Star Professionals is an organization kind of like J.D. Power and Associates. It basically does research on professionals, whether it's doctors, lawyers, accountants, attorneys, anything that anybody carries a professional designation. You can't be self-nominated, so I can't call up there and say, "Hey, Adam, I'm the greatest advisor out there. Can you nominate me?" It doesn't work that way. Somebody has to nominate you either by company, by a peer, or by a client. And my first award was given back in 2013. And what they do is, once you're nominated, you go through a deep dive. They really kind of look underneath the hood. They check, the oil. They really dig deep to make sure that you're worthy of the award. And it can take one complaint and I'll knock you off out of the running for an award. So there's probably, I think, 20 to 30,000 people get nominated on a yearly basis.
Wow.
And they get dumped on the first round of research. And by the time it's all said and done with, less than 500 people actually get the award.
Well, that's amazing.
Only one of 61 individuals had the award 9 years in a row.
That's awesome. And again, congratulations. That's a big deal. And that's just a testament of, what happens when you aim to make a difference and when you really work hard for many, many years towards it. And, there's something that you said earlier in the interview. You mentioned that you brought on a business partner, which I thought was very interesting. And I know there's some reasons behind why you may have done that, but I don't want to assume. So tell us a little bit more about the decision to bring on a business partner and kind of what that does for not only your firm, but your clients going forward.
Well, I've been in this industry 30 years, and I've had a couple car accidents and a couple things that have happened in my life that I don't understand why I'm still here. On this earth. So recently, my car accident back in December was a T-bone. So all my clients who are either doctors or nurses, they both said, "You shouldn't survive that." I said, "Yeah, I know. Either the devil doesn't want me yet, or God wasn't willing to bring me up yet. One of the two." But I knew at that point in time, years ago, the average advisor in the industry is about 55 years of age, which is really sad because we have so many people out there that need help. But I was looking for a succession plan. And I happened, and like I said, I'm a firm believer. We've talked about this in the past that in my faith, and I went to an event for Gleaner Life Insurance Society in Valparaiso 3 years ago. I wasn't supposed to be there that day. And I do a presentation with a marketing piece that they have. And they said, "Would you come out and do the piece or do your presentation?" I'm like, "Sure. Less than an hour drive. I'd be more than happy to come do it." Wow. And this young lady, her name was Tara Nolan, which is now Tara DeMaria. And she goes, after I did my presentation, she goes, "You mind if I pick your brain?" My rule of thumb is you got to wait till that second cup of coffee hits me. And so we did. She asked a lot of great questions, and one thing led to another. I just started mentoring her. And then about 3-4 months, almost 6 months into the mentoring, I said, "Why don't you just come into the firm?" I said, "Let's see how it goes. If it makes sense, we'll see how it works, and maybe we'll make you a partner and you continue the Planning Legacies." So that was 3 years ago. And like I said, the nice thing about it is, she brings a different perspective as a female, or as a millennial female.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an old fart at 58, so I have old school thoughts. And it's a nice meld. And for our clients, like I said, they're getting 2 advisors for a price of 1. They're getting our staff as well. But what they're getting is they're getting 2 different perspectives. And I think that's really key, because a lot of times advisors will look past one spouse, whether it's the male or the female. They'll look past one and they'll talk to one individual. And that's where a lot of advisors miss out. Is, the way we come into it, we come into things holistically, but we come at things, like I said, 2 different perspectives. We come from a male perspective that's older, and a female's perspective that's younger. So we get to take the ideas and kind of make it fit for the client. We're not going into, there is no preconceived thoughts going into it. We have a male and female version of the thought. And believe me, after all these years, I've learned that's quite a bit different of thought process.
That's awesome. And you mentioned her name's Tara, correct?
Correct, Tara. Yes.
Awesome. Well, hey, Tara, we're pulling for you over there, and thank you for all the great work that you're doing as well.
Yeah,
she's some recognition.
She's a single mom right now, recently engaged again, which I think is fantastic. She's very happy and makes my life a lot simpler.
Man, that's awesome. Well, I just have to say, Russell, it's always great working with you. I have to also say, so what's next? I mean, you just published the book. I know we're out there doing promo, doing interviews. What's next for you? What's next for the firm?
Hopefully the firm continues to grow. We just opened up another office over El Paraiso, Indiana. So it's our 2nd location. We're looking, next location probably be down in Florida, because we have a lot of clientele down there. Looking to keep adding advisors, but I'm excited about our future endeavor with the Mission Matters, and starting doing more video podcasting and helping other businesses that we both know, and getting them, I don't want to say exposure, but getting their word out, getting their mission out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun going forward for us. I think in general is, I think our synergy between your company and my company is really kind of pretty wild, since we started this process between the book and now the podcast. Is we're trying to help people with their mission, and everybody's mission matters, and we're just piggybacking on what you do, and we're just trying to make a difference in people's lives in the business industry.
Awesome. So if somebody is watching this and they do want to learn more about Planning Legacies Financial Group, I mean, what's the best way for my audience to connect with you and your team?
Well, there's a couple of ways. We obviously, we have a website called, it's www.plfg.org. They can go there anytime. There's a lot of really great materials on there. There's humorous videos on financial stuff, but just can be a very boring topic. But I have a good friend of mine who did some funny videos there for us. A lot of good information there. They can do our search, our library and articles. All of our contact information is there, whether it's email or phone numbers. Best way to email me is at Russell, RUSSELL @plfg.org. Tara's Tara, TARA @plfg.org. And then our phone numbers are, our office number is 708-981-3152. I'll be honest with you, the best way to reach me is my cell phone, which is 708-308-7545. So those are kind of all the ways. And I always tell people, if you can't reach me on my cell phone or something wrong, because it's not my hip until 9 o'clock at night. Yeah. And usually if I'm up, I'm on my iPad. If somebody calls me, I'll answer the phone through the iPad.
Awesome. Well, Russell, just want to say again, thank you for coming back on the show. And again, congrats on the award. Congrats on the new business partner. So Tara, congrats, or not new, she's been there over 3 years. Congrats on the growth of the company, the new office. Congrats on all that you got going on there. A bunch of great things happening. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you learned a lot. If you did, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, especially if you're a first-time viewer or listener. We have many more mission-based entrepreneurs, executives, and experts on the line coming up for you, and we don't want you to miss a thing. And Russell, as always, pleasure working with you.
Same thing, Em. I'd like to say to the audience, if you're watching this, please go to Mission Matters website. There's a lot of really good content there. There's individuals there who have some phenomenal stories that If you pick up one thing out of that story, that was worth your 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, hour of your time. If you don't, you're going to miss out on a lot. So thank you again for what you do in Mission Matters, and you are making a difference in people's lives and business. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.